In my last reading, I did a new moon reading for highly sensitive people. And I went a little bit further on that, but I will put the link in my description if you're interested in that video. But I wanted to sort of continue on a topic that I covered in that video, and it is the Lenormand Grand Tableau reading. It's the last house in the 36 houses and 36 cards. It's called the Cross, and in the last reading, I had the Bear card on the Cross House, which I typically refer to normally as the Cross to Bear, and the Bear card was on it. So that was quite serendipitous, and I'm not surprised. But I just wanted to cover a little bit more for highly intuitive people and cover, is this something, difficulties in life? Is that something that you have to have as a highly sensitive person? Do you always have to have, feel like you have mountains to climb? And it's funny because as I laid out my cards before the reading, today's reading starts off with the Sun card in the Rider House, which means what do we need to move forward with? We need to look at what actions we can take to sort of climb the mountains and get over our blocks. And so that's interesting. The last card, of course, ended up with the mountain on the cross house this time, not the bear, but the mountain. And I wanted to cover, is this mountain our cross to bear as highly sensitive people? So I just first wanted to cover the INFJ thing. So if you haven't heard of that before, it's basically a personality test. Um, uh, Personality type. When I was in corporate work, I had a workshop where we were lucky to have the paid for test, which I forget how much it is, but it's a more comprehensive test. But you can do your own test online to see what type of personality type you are. And here I've pulled it up here on my phone. This is at 16personalities.com, the number 16personalities.com. And I believe you can do it here because I just looked up my personality type, and I'm assuming a lot of you sensitive people will be very close to this, if not INFJs, because this is how I do what I do. I read people because I am this type of personality. It is an advocate. The INFJ is considered an advocate, and I'm reading this paragraph here. Is a personality type with the introverted, intuitive, feeling, and judging traits. They tend to approach life with deep thoughtfulness and imagination. Their inner vision, personal values, and a quiet, principled version of humanism guide them in all things. So, right away, we know as an INFJ, or a very deeply intuitive person, things may not feel so easy in life. And that's where this mountain comes. Is this our cross to bear in our whole lives? Well, I think it's more in, and we'll find out in this reading, is that we just need to sort of change our thinking, and in not thinking that life has got to be hard to reap the rewards of deep intuition, but to think of it differently. So I'll just read another thing here. Idealistic and principled, people with the INFJ personality type, advocates, aren't content to coast through life. Things aren't always going to feel sunny. Anyone who just coasts through life are not going to make big change in life. Okay, so we want to stand up and make a difference. For these compassionate personalities, success doesn't come from money or status, but from seeking fulfillment, helping others, and being a force for good in the world. If you have seen anyone who has made a change in the world or has even been a good person in the world, you know that they have not just coasted through life, right? Things always haven't been sunny for them. They haven't just lived life with luck on their side. So, that is one way to think of yourself going through life, is that you are actually climbing the mountain for attainment of wisdom. Doesn't mean that you can't have material things in life, that's for sure. I love beautiful things and always will. I'm a Libra too, so I love beauty. So, having a beautiful home, having beautiful things around me, and making sure everything is just full of things that make me feel good inside is important to me. But this mountain always feels or can feel very daunting. So, another way to look at this mountain is you are climbing this mountain for wisdom. All of us have mountains to climb, that's for sure, not even sensitive people. We all have things to climb through in life. And you could look at this as you are climbing the mountain, you are leveling up. You are climbing that ladder. You are reaching the top where you reach your wisdom. Think about the Buddha at the top, where you get all the answers in life, all the answers to everything mystical. The real reason we're here on Earth. Why are we here? You'll get those answers at the top of the mountain. So it's not all for nothing. It is with purpose that you can climb this mountain. I have a feeling that you have always been like this. I'm looking right at the bottom line here with the 4 cards. The key to it is that you have been like this through childhood. You may have learned from the sensitivity on how to deal with people who are not sensitive. And I think you were born with this. I don't think this is something that you're not born with and then all of a sudden you become sensitive. I think that this is, ingrained in you, and this is part of you. You have also learned to put up blocks. If you kind of switch this thinking and think of this not as a mountain, but as a block, think of it as a big wall. You have learned as a sensitive child and a sensitive adult, no matter where you are in life, how to block people out so their issues and their problems, their emotional vampire tendencies don't come and sort of suck your soul away. Okay, so as a sensitive person, you have that gift, or you've learned that gift, to be able to block people. If you haven't, that's something to learn. That's an action plan for you to move forward with, is to learn how to protect yourself and put up a block so people do not suck or drain your energy. Let me know if you want me to go further with this. I do believe I have a video on a meditation that I do to protect my energy before I go out, or especially when I'm doing readings, because you meet a lot of different personalities out there and a lot of different energy swirling around, right? You don't want to sort of let that into your aura. Okay, so that's another way to look at that. As a child, you've learned, you've moved on, you've gone forward with letting those clouds sort of dissipate. Think of as in throughout life, as you are climbing that mountain, once you get to the mountain, those clouds will dissipate. I think of it as like a hiking the mountain. And the sun will burn off those clouds once you get that attainment. Maybe that's the thing to look at. You are in this life as a sensitive person. You are there with these special gifts to be able to have that attainment. Okay, so it's not all about material things, although we can definitely have them as well. You just have this extra special uh, luck to you, if you will. When I say luck, I wanted to say at the end here, see the luck card? It's on the moon house. That means it's all about intuition. So the deep intuition that you have as a highly sensitive person. If you, the card beside it is the ring, and it's on the sun house. So we're talking about this sunshine. If you commit to working on your intuition, then you will be lucky in life, whatever that means to you. I mean, boy, people who aren't very sensitive or very deep, they just want to win the lottery, okay? And that they think that will make them happy. But being a deep and sensitive person, you know that even winning the lottery will not make you happy. There's a lot more to life than just the material things. So right now, because I'm a woman and these cards just have a woman and a man and a child, so they're non-diverse at all. So you don't have to be a woman watching this to get this information. But I am looking at the woman card in the reading here for a 9-card portrait. So I've got it up here and I'll show you where that little 9-card portrait is. But you'll see surrounding the woman is a reading in itself in this grand tableau. And right at the top left is the tree card. So this is another confirmation that you've had this since childhood, okay? You've had this sensitivity since you were born. You even may have this through your ancestral line. Okay, for me, often I think of as a feminine, mystic or, witchy line. Who were the magical people in your family who you take after? It's really neat when you do your ancestry. I did my own and I found this woman who used to help the townspeople with her knowledge of herbs to help them get through the winter. That was actually in her obituary at a time where it's surprising that she wasn't thought of as a witch. Okay, so that ancestry, I think of it as a magical ancestry, and maybe that's where I get my magic from. So that might be one thing to look at and see where the people are in your family who were like you, no matter if it's magical or intuitive or sensitive. But that's something that seems to be at the core of you being a sensitive person, at least in this reading. And it's on the clouds house, so it does seem like you can find out some more information. The coffin is a couple of cards away here, and that shows there's more that you can find out about the magic or the sensitive personality in you and where it comes from. So it feels like you could study more of that. The tower right beside there, that just shows me that there's, more, that's like an educational institution. You could find out some more information about that. This can also even represent royalty. Who are you related to? Where does your ancestry come from? Is it back to people who lived in castles, perhaps? Okay. So going back to that 9-card reading, you can move forward from anything hard. Okay, so this whip here is a sign that, sensitive people tend to be really hard on themselves and perhaps, have some toxic people in their lives. This could be, if you are highly intuitive, this is probably because you have had toxic people in your life, even narcissistic people who you have really learned to deal with over the years. And if you haven't, that's really hard on you. Okay, so there are lots of things that you can do to learn to deal with these toxic people. Let me know if you're interested in talking more about that on a mystical level. Of course, I'm not a psychiatrist or psychologist, so I'm not giving medical advice at all, at all. This is more on the mystical side of things. Okay. Okay, so learning how to deal with that. Also, ego can cause a lot of anxiety. So, those negative voices in your head, easier said than done to learn how to not listen to those voices, but that is something to work on. That anxiety card is on the fox house, which means you need to work at that, or that's something to consider working at, is not listening to those the voices in our heads. We all have that, right? Some more than others, and sensitive people probably more than others. At the bottom of you, so underlying you, at the core of you, we've got the Lily's house, which is on the crossroads house, which means you are at the moment in your life, especially finding this video. If this is something that you haven't been thinking about already, this is a sign for you to know you are at a crossroads right now, and you have every opportunity to take this path, to dive into your intuitiveness and your sensitivity and how you can use these gifts to grow. Just a side note, a really good book, and I believe that they've put out a newer version, is from Sonia Choquette. And I know Hay House sells her book, and I believe they have a sale on right now because I just saw it the other day. But the book that I would suggest to start with, if you haven't started to look into your intuition, is called Trust Your Vibes, a book called Trust Your Vibes. She even has an oracle deck out on how to trust your vibes. Okay, so that's a really good book. Maybe I can put that link in the description as well. It's very like a basic book, but it's so full of great information to get started. So that's, you're at a crossroads to learn, to gain your wisdom. I think of this Lily's card as a feminine card too. So that's like feminine intuition. The moon is a very feminine card, all about intuition. You can, of course, be a man as well. Okay, so don't think about gender here. This is for anyone who has fallen upon this video. Underneath you as well, at the core of you, is this loyalty. You are a very loyal person. Think of the loyal dog here. Okay. I won't really go into that a lot, but there is also the outcome is this bear, which is, I covered in my last video, is this empowered energy. So think of a bear, a protective bear, a mama bear. Think of how the big personality is. So you do have this within you, this power in you. In my last video, it was on the cross house, and that's what got me started talking about this. Your cross to bear is that you are empowered. Okay, so it's not maybe the mountain that we think it is. It's like you do have this power to you. Okay, so I hope you know that. This is showing up as an outcome today, as it did in that reading that I'm speaking about. Okay, so if you use that sunshiny energy, so that daytime, that go-getter, that action, if you use that to commit yourself. So here's this ring here, commitment card. It's on the sun house. If you commit to learning about your intuition and diving into this, then you will be lucky. Okay, so, and on a deeper level than people who aren't sensitive. Some people think, this luck card may be about winning the lottery. There's always that joke about someone going to see a psychic saying, "Hey, can you tell me the lotto numbers?" And then they laugh. Okay, so that's what people think, on a very material level. It's all about just let's just win the lottery and we'll be happy. That's not the case at all. This is like if you put some commitment into working on the deeper soul of you. And if you're still here listening, then you understand that. Okay, so you will be lucky with that. Oh, amazing. So I just will end up with working on just this 3 card reading. Sorry about that. I had to take a drink. This is from my the Relative Tarot. It goes along with an oracle deck that I have that I love. It's called the Beloved Dead. I'm just gonna pull this up here. Okay, there's the Beloved Dead. That's an oracle deck. And then the same person, Carrie Paris, did the Relative Tarot. And this is more based on the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, but using the same imagery from the Beloved Dead oracle deck that I like. And it's just a deck with lots of collage and vintage images superimposed over the actual Rider-Waite-Smith deck. The first card that I pulled up, you'll see, is the sun, and you can see the Rider-Waite-Smith sun right under it, and then they've superimposed these images here. I'll put it up in the side so you can see it a bit better as I read this. Okay, so this 3-card reading, just to finish off, it starts out with the sun, and I shuffled this deck as well as the Lenormand deck, and both readings started with the sun. That's pretty incredible. Very serendipitous, right? I'm not surprised. So we've talked a lot about the sun, but in the tarot, the sun can mean things like attainment, contentment. You're reaching the sun. It can mean by yourself, but it can also mean as a couple. You'll see in this deck here, there are 2 people who are celebrating the gifts that they have in their life. But I want you to notice they actually are holding a ladder. And that can mean that you still have steps that you can take. I call it leveling up to become more successful and to obtain that bright light that you're looking for. In the 36 card Lenormand deck, the sun is the brightest card, the nicest card you can have. And I would say the same in the tarot as well. It's very, very bright, and a reason to celebrate. So just know that you have that within you. The next card is something that I feel like deeply sensitive people have as well. It's the 7 of Cups. And you'll see in this fun deck that he looks like a magician. He's blindfolded, and it's almost like he, through ESP, intuition, can know what's in each of those chalices. It's all very mysterious, and it's almost like, which chalice is he going to choose? Does he know what's in them? It also feels like the Magician tarot card, as he has one hand up, the representing above, and then one hand sort of pointing down, representing below. As above, so below. So it's very magical. That this is something I believe that is here for us as intuitive work that we can do, and I believe that sensitive people are very easily able to learn this themselves. The last card that I'll leave you with, is sort of going on with that theme about working at what you love. Okay, this 8 of Pentacles card is a man who's holding another ladder. So just like the Sun card where they're holding the ladder, he is as well. And there are 8 pentacles here, and you can see you can level up. The pentacles are showing that you can have material things throughout life. It's not just all about, oh boy, what can I say about that? It's not about just going through life and having to be that Buddha at the top of the mountain to get through life and not having material things. You can climb those ladders and have things that we generally like throughout life, and climb them at the same time. But what's most important that I wanted to cover here is that this person is doing what they love to do. It's almost like an artist. I am an artist too. I love to paint and do textile work and things like that. But it doesn't have to be visual arts. It can be anything that's creative. So sensitive people can be very creative as well and tend to do really well when they are able to get their creativity out and their intuitiveness out. Perhaps this is a really good way for you to work at your intuition and your highly sensitive skills and gifts that you have, is to work at it throughout life and enjoy it as you're going on. When you are working with your creativity and your intuition, time flies. It doesn't feel like work, and you are climbing the ladder rather than feeling like you're climbing a very hard mountain, if that makes sense. Okay, so the sun and the mountain and the ladder are very important in this reading. So I hope that you've gotten a lot out of this reading. And I hope that you continue to work on your highly sensitive skills. And please do let me know in the comments if you've enjoyed the video. I'd really love to hear from you. And all the best to you. And I hope to see you again soon. Thank you very much.